That's a nice new couch for your nice new home, buddy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Finally starting to get a little bit moved in.
Oh, moving. That's the worst. I mean,
Oh,
can
sucks.
can you name a worse thing than moving? Like, I can't really name anything that's worse than that.
No, yeah, there's not many things. It's terrible.
No.
It's like all the excitement in the eye of like getting a new place and buying a house. It's like awesome, awesome, and then it's like you sign the paperwork and you're like, shit, I gotta move. This sucks.
Yeah, the moving. That's a good question for everyone. Can you name things that are worse than moving? Let us know. Drop it in the comments below because I can't name anything that's worse than moving.
No.
Um, awesome, buddy. So before we get started, I guess gotta put this place on blast because this was terrible. Worst barbecue I've ever had tonight.
Oh,
Um, there was this place that used to be a barbecue joint right down the road from me. It used to be called Sonny's Barbecue. Now, Sonny's was amazing. They had some of the best sweet tea for lunch and dinner, and it was different price for lunch and dinner, but there was always like all you can eat, and then it would do like you choose one meat and the sides, and it was all you can eat sides. Plus, you could change out the meats. For dinner, it was like $16. Lunch was $13. Reasonably priced, really reasonably priced. So when I moved back down here, it had closed, and now it's same location. It's called Mitchell's Barbecue. Okay, so I'm
get it
letting
together.
everyone know. Do not go if you're in Fort Myers. Don't go to Mitchell's Barbecue. It's a waste of your money. Overpriced. It's the same meat. It's the same everything in there, but now it's like 24.99 for beef brisket and two sides. Now, my friend,
That's
you
still
can
all you can eat, or just like a
no.
certain.
It's not even all you can eat anymore. My friend, that is unreal. You can get a steak for cheaper than that. Um, so it it wasn't terrible. Like I will say like I had the beef brisket. I'm a big beef brisket guy. I love barbecue places that can always judge off their brisket. It was very tender, melted in your mouth. Um, but the price was not worth that. Like I've had cheaper. There's a place in Fort Myers called Big Nick's Barbecue. Their brisket is way better and way less money. So, and then the other thing about Sonny's, they always had sauces. Their sauces were great. Well, now it's the same sauce. It's just they've relabeled it, but it's the same bottle, same everything. It tastes the same. They've just relabeled it. Now it's just sweet and kicking. And it used to be Sunny sweet and Sunny's kicking. Now they just removed the Sunnies and and everything in there's the same. So, yeah, they're trying to be more of a high end barbecue. Was not
And
worth
cost
it.
of livings went up. The
Yeah, yeah, it was not worth it. So that's my if I had to give a out of 10 rating, I would say it was about a 4.2 on the rating scale. The
oof.
meat was about a 7, but the price drives it down to a 4 because I don't want to be paying 24.99 for not even a half pound of brisket and two sides.
See, man, I'm a firm believer. If you give me good food and give me good portions, I'm cool with paying.
Yep.
Like that's one of my favorite things to do is eat. So
Yeah, I
like just
used
this
to.
past weekend, it was my girlfriend's birthday, so we went to it's like Mitchell's Ocean Prime, some steakhouse seafood place. It was one of the best meals I've ever had in my life.
And see,
Hands down, one of the most expensive meal I've had.
but
But
you're
I
okay
would do
with
it
it.
all over again in a heartbeat because the food, the experience, the service. Rachel was the name of our server. She did an awesome job. Like the whole thing, it was just worth it.
But see, that I'm okay with. It's the fact that it's still the same barbecue joint, but you've renamed it and you've doubled the price. That's what I have a problem with. That's the issue for me. Um, because I'm right there with you. If it's good food, good meal, good experience, sure, I'll pay the the environment, the ambiance fee.
Mhm.
But there was no that. Plus, I was one of this is actually the second night in a row that I've eaten in a restaurant where I've been the only person, or tonight
It's never a good time.
there was just one other guy there tonight. Uh, last 2 nights ago, Monday night, I stopped in. I wanted breakfast food for dinner, so I went to IHOP. I was the only person in the IHOP at it was like 6 p.m. So like
It
not like a weird hour to go to IHOP, but weirdly enough, they
doesn't matter
also
though. There's
they're
drunk people all day long.
yeah, well
So there should be at least a couple people in that IHOP.
they were having a IHOP down here right now is having like a happy hour from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. where it's like not alcohol, but like it's like $6 breakfast plates and like yeah, some like other like cool little happy hour menu items. And I was the only person in there. And when I got there, the waitress was like, "Hey, thanks so much for coming in. You've been my like third customer in the last 2 hours." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So, but if you've ever sat in an IHOP by yourself, wow, buddy.
Be an eerie feeling.
No music either, just me, the server, and the cook. That was the only three people in the whole restaurant. It was definitely weird. It was definitely
You
weird.
should have just asked her, like, hey, you know what? Let's go back talk to the cook. Let's see what he wants to make. I'm open to options right
Yeah,
now. Like,
like
come
yeah,
on, let's go
yeah.
walk back there. It's just us here right now. It's just friends.
Well, it seems like I might have to do that the next time I'm there because it doesn't seem like very many people are going IHOP. But I agree with you. IHOP used to be the spot, man. You can just go to IHOP anytime. I just used to love to go to IHOP just to people watch. Just
Oh
I
yeah.
I've seen so many crazy fights in IHOP. I've seen a dude get a Mountain Dew chucked off his head in IHOP. I mean, I've seen an IHOP turn into like a nightclub halfway through my meal. Like it's dude, IHOP was a place, but it was
Popping.
eerily quiet. It was crazy. Um,
That's always a sign out there. If you ever go to a restaurant anywhere and there's nobody else in the place, probably should just turn around and leave.
yeah, it's
Like
probably something.
it's there's signs that there's not a single local there. There's not nobody from out of town trying the place.
Yeah.
You just happen to find it on Google. Did this up in Michigan the one time. What was it called? Looking for pizza. I love pizza. I love food. So I was going up there. This is when I found that River's Edge. We originally were going to some place that was clam something. Clam, I don't know. Can't even remember. But we show up and it is the dirtiest, nastiest fucking strip club
Oh God.
on the edge of the water. There's like oil stains, like not just oil stains, but like just big stains all over the parking lot. Nobody is there at all except for like two cars parked right up at the front. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't it.
Oh
This
my
ain't the
God.
place. Let's look something else up. Get Google Map. Pick something else up on your phone, but we ain't going here.
There's
And River's
another.
Edge is actually our second choice. That's turned into my favorite pizza place that I've been craving lately. I've actually mentioned it like 3 times in the last 2 days.
Yeah, there's another lesson to be learned there also is if you're going to a pizza place that starts with clams and then it's also a strip club, seafood and strip clubs,
Didn't
I've never.
Google didn't say it was a strip club.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So like, yeah, it was
Wow.
shocking.
Wow. That's the picture has been painted in my head and that's crazy. All right, let's talk with some sports though. So I mean craziness has ensued right now, I feel like in the NFL with us coming in very close now. We're coming into the final stretch here. We've suffered almost just enough, and it is almost football season, training camp starting, but not soon enough to where there has been a massive kind of uh, issue that's arisen with running backs. There was a post that I saw the other day, um, and I thought this was very alarming. But I also kind of I see both sides, but it still was an alarming number. The average salary for an NFL running back in 2023 was 1.81 million. The average salary for an NFL kicker was 2.26 million. Now, at face value, that seems pretty outrageous because you have to think
Wow.
running backs are really important for an offense. I do think that teams that have a good run game are very successful in the NFL. The Bills were a perfect example of a team that didn't have a very good run game, but their pass game, but they couldn't really. I feel like if they would have had a good run game, they would have made a bigger push. The other end, though, I feel like this was a weird stat because if you think about it, a kicker, and this I might get some heat on this, but a kicker, if you have a bad kicker, that can really affect your team. And there's only one like kicker per team. Like some teams might have a backup kicker, but like Justin Tucker, I feel like could bring more value than
Ravens, but he's that dude.
but he should be getting paid more than like maybe the third or fourth string running back.
Oh, hell
Right.
yeah.
Because I think the other thing was there's so many running backs per team that there's so many people that it drives that average down. Like if you were to take just the starters maybe of the running backs, I'd be more curious to see like what's the starting salary, like what's the starting running back salary average compared to starting kicker average salary. I feel like that number,
That's going to be a different conversation.
but I feel like there's so many running backs and so few kickers that's why that number looks skewed. Either way, it is shocking to know that running backs just in general aren't getting that bag. And I think we've seen it very clearly with guys like Dalvin Cook, guys like Zeke, even guys like Derrick Henry who are on it, Kareem Hunt. They're starting to be very vocal about it. I mean, Joe Mixon just took a pay cut. So I mean, running backs, how do you kind of feel about this? Like, are running backs an undervalued position? Like, what's your take on this one?
Feel like everybody feels they're very replaceable. I mean, was it McVay was the coach that said after they paid who was it out there in LA? They gave the big contract to Todd Gurley and then he got hurt again. Then McVay said, I will never ever pay a running back big money again. Draft them, keep them for 4 or 5 years, let them go. Draft another one. And that's the whole league started following that mentality. I mean, what are there 10 running backs that are making over $10 million a year at this point? It's just a passing league. It sucks because the Browns, we had one of the best running back tandems in football last year. Rushing yards doesn't result in wins anymore. When you got a guy throwing for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns on you, cool, go rush the ball 26 times for 212 yards. We're going to score 4 times in the time that it takes you to score twice.
Yeah, and then you bring up a good point too of injury, right? Like if you're a running back, if you're really heavy on this running back and they're more likely to get injured because they're taking hits from bigger people. What happens then when that person goes down? You don't have anyone to pass. Your quarterback, like your offense, wasn't built for that. Like the Titans kind of fall into that too. Like when Derrick Henry's going, the Titans are very hard to stop. But once Derrick Henry starts getting contained or he's hurt, not a very they have to rely more on their defense. Which again,
Speaking of Derrick Henry and the Titans, is it official DeAndre Hopkins to the Titans now? Is that a signed deal or is that still just rumored? Because I saw people had said it, but
by the time we post this video, it'll probably be like officially signed. But I mean, it's pretty much everything besides like Schefter actually like releasing it, and like ESPN actually saying it. But it sounds like that's where he's going, which is talk about a shocking,
that's where receivers go to die.
Yeah, shocking move. Unless Vrabel has something up his sleeves and he's going to start
who they
airing
got
out
to
more.
The ball with Tannehill, Malik Wills. Didn't they draft another quarterback this year?
Oh,
they take the kid from Kentucky, Will Levis.
Oh, I'm gonna look that up.
You gotta look it up. I can't. I'm on my phone still. Next week I'll have my laptop up and going.
Titans QBs: Ryan Tannehill, Malik, and Will. So maybe.
Yeah, so they did. So hey, maybe they're gonna throw Big Will out there and just say, hey, just go chuck the ball up to number 10 every time. The dude with the long dreads, just wherever he goes, launch it that direction.
and let's be real, we've talked about this on previous podcasts. DeAndre Hopkins is one of the top receivers in the NFL, top 10 for sure,
Yeah.
borderline top 5. And it's mostly because the dude's hands are like glue. The dude
The
doesn't
ball
drop.
touches his hands, he's gonna catch it.
Yeah, he is. He is by far one of the best receivers in terms of catching and productivity in the league. I think he's done that too with not great quarterbacks. That's the other thing is he's done all that with quarterbacks that I wouldn't even consider top 10, top 20. I mean, he did have Deshaun Watson
Man.
for a little bit, but then he did for a little bit, but
Yeah.
before, you know what I'm saying? But even with that,
After
that
that,
was what, like,
Kyler's,
I mean, he had
I don't know.
Deshaun what for 1 or 2 years? Like, was that
I think it was they were a little over 2 years before
okay?
that.
So,
That
like,
kind
still
of
not that
everything.
much time
Yeah,
with him. You look
but
at
they
the
were
other guys,
they were
not
the
good.
number one wide receiver quarterback tandem in the NFL. The one full season they had
Yeah,
together.
but the guy's been in the league a long time, and
Yeah,
he's only, you
it's
know what I'm
31,
saying?
32 years old. So
Yeah. So, and I think he's still got at least I'd say 3 or 4 more good years in him. So I think that was, I mean, good for the Titans, but yeah, I don't know how that's going to
I
fit
hope it all
DeAndre.
falls apart and he still ends up in Cleveland. DeAndre, if you're listening to this, I know you're not. Come on up to Cleveland. Come back with Deshaun. Let's go win a ring.
That'd be crazy. Cooper, Beckham, and Hopkins. That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
That'd be
Wait,
a
we don't back him anymore. What'd you say?
no. Who is it? Who'd you guys just pick up though?
Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples Jones, Marquise Goodman,
Yeah, you guys have some dudes. You have some
Hakeem
dudes.
Grant, David Bell, second year at
No,
Purdue,
you picked up someone else this year, didn't you? Or maybe was it?
Elijah Moore.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, from Ole Miss.
Yeah. That's gonna be you guys have some
He was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was the third guy in the DK Metcalf, AJ Brown photo.
I think so. I think you're right.
All them shirtless, just being ripped in the locker room, and everybody thinking DK was on steroids for the
Yeah.
first time after that.
Yeah. Those were some dogs.
Yeah.
Absolute dogs.
How did they not
Um
win the SEC?
getting that was back in the day. People were
Yeah.
paying, getting gifts from donors for sure. Uh
Illegally. Now it's all legal.
yeah, right. NIL deals. Um, but yeah, back to running backs. I think overall, I think Derrick Henry brings up a great point. He was like, just get rid of the running back position. If you're not going to pay it, just get rid of the position altogether, and because just make teams everything more passing. I
Yeah.
still think I am a firm believer though that if you have a good running back, um, you can be a more versatile offense because I've always been a firm believer in your run game sets up your pass game opens up your run game. The more that you're kind of threatened there. I do think this is weird. This is going to be another hot take. I do think that's why I think Joe Mixon is so successful is because he's not like your typical big, like third and short back, but he is quick and athletic enough and he can catch balls out of the backfield and he's
Yeah.
very athletic. And I think so he's not like your stereotypical looking running back, but he's a running back and
Huge difference.
he plays a spread offense running back really
Yeah.
well.
There's not a lot of 3 down backs out there that doesn't matter what the play is, that they're ready to go out there. And that makes a huge difference because the defense then can't prep for it. They don't know, all right, well, we got Kareem Hunt coming in, so there's a good chance this is probably going to be a pass play at this point. Or, oh, Chubb's out there, so it's 50-50 on if it's going to be around, if not more.
Right.
Having the same guy out there all the time just, doesn't matter. That's why I've been an Alvin Kamara fan. I've been
Yeah.
picking up in fantasy leagues for years because the dude can do it all. I think he's one of the best all around backs in the league. I know last year was a little bit of a down season for him, had some injuries, but the guy's great out of the backfield catching the ball. He can break any run for a touchdown. Just give him a little bit of space. And he can pass block, so you don't need to take him out on passing possessions either, because he can literally do all aspects of his job. And there's not enough guys out there in the league that can do that.
Running backs that can pass protect are so rare, I feel like, and it's so special. It really makes or breaks teams. That's one reason I'm really upset that P Ryan has moved on. I thought P Ryan was another kind of just like real solid running back that again still could catch the ball, could run the ball, but his pass blocking was so good. And I really do feel like again, if a lot of these, like you said, we're a passing league. So if you have running backs that can pass protect, you it helps eliminate some of that blitz pressure. It helps. I know, again, for the Bengals, it helps when you have offensive line injuries, being able to leave another guy in there to block. But then again, if you don't blitz anyone, you got someone now that can get out to the flats or get open on a check down. Like like you said, Alvin Kamara is another perfect example. The guy who makes opportunities out of those type of situations and finds the end zone. Right, he just gets in the end zone. But then again, then you get a guy like Chubb or Henry, who it's like you're not really seeing too much like out of the backfield passing
Yeah.
game wise. It's very clear like if they're getting the ball as a handoff. But they do special stuff when they
Yeah.
get the ball. They really
And,
do.
and there's still that rare occasion where you set them up out in the flat with four linemen and three linemen and a tight end in front of them, and you catch the defense off guard. Man, that
Yeah.
just watch out.
They're definitely good in open space. It's just they're
Yeah.
not used that much in those type of scenarios. But I mean, that's why, we're not offensive coordinators in the league, but if I was, I would do a lot more with Chubb than just run the ball with him. When you
Yeah,
say,
I'd run him
15,
25 times a game
yeah,
until his body just shuts down and his career's over.
yeah,
He's only here for so long. Just use him.
yeah,
It's
right.
not like it's a sports car. It's not going to appreciate in value. Keeping the miles off, it's not going to do anything. Give
Yeah,
Nick Chubb the fucking ball.
but I would even take it a step further and say, like, okay, let's not look at it as like he needs 15 carries a game. Like, let's think of it as he needs the ball 15 times. So it
He
could
needs
be
to
any
touch it.
yeah,
Yeah.
he can be any combination, right? Like of running the ball or getting him out in the passing game. Just get that man the ball. And I think if you guys can figure that out, he's one of the most unstoppable forces in the league, hands down. And I'll keep saying that. I say that week after week. All right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit to basketball. Your Cavs won the summer league, bud. What is this?
Cleveland.
Yeah, look, even Hayes gets in on that excitement.
Yeah.
Start talking about Cavs, even Hayes knows. What does this mean for the Cavs? I
Man,
mean, but like in the words of Draymond,
lucky young town.
this is just
So,
summer league, bro. That's the words of Draymond. Did you see that when Bayo was saying that
yeah.
Euro was more physical, and Draymond was like, "This is summer league, bro." So like, is that the same with the Cavs? Is like, it's a summer league, bro, or like, does this have some
I mean,
implications on the season?
I think it's good for us because it's a lot of young guys out there. So Isaiah Mobley, Finals MVP, hasn't got a lot of playing time in the league yet, but he proved out there that he is a capable basketball player. He's improving, and he's ready to get some minutes in the league. I think Emoni Bates just showed that there was a reason he was the number one recruit in the nation coming out of high school. He's a little sporadic. He maybe takes a few too many shots sometimes, but shooters going to shoot.
Right.
What's you keep hoisting. If you're a scorer and you got the type of talent he does, what was it, 27, 28 points straight in one game when he was at Eastern Michigan? Just got to let him learn. And that's a great time to get some of those bumps and bruises out because they have, nothing to lose at that point. It's just going out there and trying to prove what you can do. It doesn't matter if they win, lose. It's awesome they win. It's awesome that they got that experience in a playoff type atmosphere. Do I think it means we're going to go in the finals just because of our summer league team winning? No. Do I still think the Cavs could? Yeah, definitely. Because they have that solid young core. And then adding a guy like Bates, if we can get Sam Merrill healthy and get him in on the NBA roster, we need a shooter. We got a guy that can shoot in the low 40% from three that he could just spot up and just keep hitting out there. man, that makes Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell so much more dangerous. That's the thing. Isaiah Okoro, when he was hitting last year and he was hot, man, that made us one of the best teams in basketball, having him step up like that. But we were really lacking from the three position a lot of the season offensively. Don't take anything away from a lot of those minutes were ate up by Okoro and Lamar Stevens, who just got cut. Defensive studs, both of them. Doesn't matter who the best player on the other team is, you just put them on them and they're going to pester them and they're going to make their life hell. And they're going to do everything they can to stop them. But offensively, you take what you get. If you can have a guy like Bates that can go out there and put up 15 to 20 a game, you need to watch out for this Cleveland Cavs team next year.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're exactly right in describing kind of how the Cavs played. I think the Cavs' biggest issue last year was just inconsistency. I don't think it was the I don't think you don't have the I don't think it's not that you don't have the talent. I just think the talent was very inconsistent. And then when you look back, it's like, okay, well, they're young. It's all a lot of learning experiences, but they need to start games better and they need to finish games better. And that just really comes down to like the whole entire Cleveland Cavaliers this past season was just the way they started and finished games, and being so inconsistent. Because when Mitchell was on, you guys were unstoppable. Agree with you also. I think this is good for those young guys to get kind of that atmosphere of, again, it's not to the level of a NBA season finals or series or anything like that, but it's still like a playoff. There were still like championship expectations. I think it's good for those young guys to get even more experience in those situations, and I think that can really help. It'll definitely help the Cavs here coming up in the next season.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's wrap it up with famous 29s. I know this was a tough one. Episode 29, famous 29s. What were a couple that you were looking at? We were kind of
I'm going
talking
to spit
offline.
out 3 of them that stuck out to me. We got 2 Cleveland greats, and my uncle Mark, he's the one that got me to be a big Cleveland Browns fan. He used to take me to games for my birthday. I remember hearing him talk about Hanford Dixon and Eric Turner being 2 of the greatest DBs in Browns history, both number 29. And also one of the funniest baseball players. Some of the best little like videos, short reels that you could put up would have been this dude hates getting his head touched. I think will be in the Hall of Fame someday. Adrian Beltre.
Oh, that is a good one. Yes, that is a really good one. I'm rocking, not just 29 wasn't a very popular number,
No,
but there was one guy who showed up once again. Not only did he wear 27, not only does he have one of the coolest names, but he also wore 29, so he's counting. Catfish Hunter, baby.
and he's back.
Yeah, he's back with that beautiful mustache. That old catfish.
We're gonna have to start finding a catfish reference every episode now.
Yeah, right. But yeah, not a lot of 29ers.
Yeah.
Earl Earl Thomas, you said Fred
Yep.
McGriff.
Eric
That was another
Berry.
one. That was another one. Earl
Uh,
Thomas. You forget Earl
Eric
Thomas though.
Dickinson. Great, all-time great running back.
Yep. Joseph Adai, too.
Yep. Another good DB.
Yeah. All right, man.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
That's another one.
They're big
All right.
goalie. Let's go.
All right, buddy. Well, anything else you want to talk about? Anything else come up?
No, just excited about the second half of this baseball season.
It's gonna be interesting. The Reds are off to a cold streak right now. So
It's the opposite way in Cleveland. We've scored more runs in the last 2 nights. I think the last time I checked, we were up 8-1. We won 11-0 last night. And I don't know the last time we scored. I don't know how many games it's taken us to score 19 runs. It could be 7, 8 games and we don't score that. So getting it in 2 innings or 2 games.
yeah. The
Come on.
Reds went like 2 or 3 games in a row with only like one run. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, second half of the season, we saw it in NBA, we saw it in NHL, and plays a lot. Saw it in the NFL. Second half of the season is really important.
Why we play all the games.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. We love you. Thanks again for all your support. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and check out our other social media channels. We are on TikTok at Recliner Sports Report. Instagram is at Recliner Sports Mac. Twitter at Recliner Report. And Facebook, we are Recliner Sports Report. Every view, like, share, comment, all that stuff goes a long way into helping us continue our mission, which is to help those who are in need. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Robbie, it was a pleasure speaking with you, buddy. And until next
Always.
time, keep the change.